Good morning from misty, beautiful, cool Southwest Missouri. This morning seems like a good opportunity to focus on nutrition. Now, as you can very well see here, our cows are munching on a wet wrapped rye bale. They really think it's the cat's meow. They love it. It's candy for them. These are wet wrapped silage bales that my husband got in from the guy that he works for. Actually, he's just working for hay credit pretty well. But at any rate, this is pretty top-notch stuff here. They milk well off of it, and they love it. But I really think it needs to be said first, how cows are broken down as far as digestive. They are hands down ruminants, which I think everybody well knows if you're interested in this video at all. But they have 4 basic compartments to a stomach. And yes, it's really one stomach. It's just 4 compartments that make it up. They are the rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. Now, in a dairy cow's world, they are largely dependent on supplements. You can try every which way to get around that, but at least from my experience and with the type of cows that we ourselves have, you have to have grain and extra hay to get them through their entire lifespan. We don't feed hay only 2 months out of the year, pretty well from April till June, and that's during our fescue boom. You can see that the grass is green right now, but in all honesty, it doesn't pack that great of a nutritional punch. So we have to feed them extra. Feeding them extra is a lot more than just feeding the actual cow. At basis, that seems like what it all is, but nothing could be further from the truth. When we are supplementing them with grain, a 16% protein grain, not only are we fueling production and volume, we are fueling overall reproductive health and absolute body maintenance. So they don't look this good by accident. That comes from high quality forages and the right amount of grain in that parlor. With that being said, when they stop lactating, they are switched to the only time of their lives where they do not get grain. They are still supplemented with hay, but we dry off about 45 to 60 days prior to calving. And then they go to a grass bale only along with a trace mineral supplement. 3 weeks prior to calving is what the dairy world calls transition. They are starting to ramp up for that final stage of gestation, and they also need to be preparing to go back onto what is called a hot ration to make them produce and maintain that. So what we do is we feed them 2 pounds per head per day along with a negative DCAD, which is ionic salts. And I prefer to feed soy chlor, to each their own, whatever you find out that makes it. But I've also had a lot of luck with Fast Track, which is just a microbial. But at any rate, you feed that along with a little bit of grain, and then that gets them ready to calve in. Failure to do so, failure to transition them correctly, can and will result in all sorts of metabolic problems, some of which could end with death. They absolutely need that negative DCAD and that grain and the hay to be dialed in perfectly, or you're going to get a cow with milk fever, hypercalcemia. She's going to go down. She's going to die without calcium treatment. She's not going to clean. She's going to have what was referred to as RPs, retained placenta. She could get ketosis. She could get a left displaced abomasum or right displaced abomasum, which is really the jinx. Prepare for a dead cow with that one. But all of this is easily prevented by feeding her correctly at every stage of her life. As previously stated, the only time that I don't feed grain is during those brief couple months that they are dried off. Every other life stage gets it. And they need it for bone health. They need it to even grow and grow correctly. I can fast pick out a cow going through a coal ring, not ours, that have not been fed correctly because they are stringy looking, they're thin, Their feet and legs break down. They're just all around sad looking animals. So feed them correctly. You are not only feeding them to keep them alive, you are fueling their production, reproductive health, and overall body condition.